Hi guys, BuildZoid here, and this is just going to be a very quick follow-up video to the X570 Aorus Master Micron Rev E overclocking video. So, here we have memtest running all the way up to like 330%. So no errors, as you can see. This is on 28 gigs, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2 rows, 2,000 megabytes each. So, yeah, it's covering most of the 32 gigs of RAM that I have currently installed. So if we go here, yeah, you can see. Okay, I could have, yeah, but I should maybe make an instance that, like, one more instance. But anyway, I consider this very stable. Okay, I consider this very stable. So let's just end all of that, and we're just going to take a look at the performance I've achieved and the settings that I'm actually running for this. We just quickly do IDA, and we're going to do memory latency. So, come on. Man, the latency test takes forever. 68 nanoseconds, and actually it should be better than that. It should be like 67. The thing is, it can go up and down if you run it a few times. Also, I just had memtest running, so maybe window. Like, the thing is, IDA scores best first thing after restart. Like a lot of well, there's quite a few benchmarks that behave like that. Yeah, so now it's 67.8. So there's a bit of variance to that test. Anyway, if we look at copy, we have, 54.2 gigabytes per second, so it's not quite as high as I'd like it to be, but the thing is just I can't push some of the secondaries any lower, and we are at 33 megahertz. I tried to run 1800, and actually I might be able to, 3800, I might be able to bump it back up to 3800, but the thing is not all CPUs can do 1900 FCLK, so it's just like, I think this is more realistic in terms of like, this is the kind of performance you could actually expect. Also, it's worth noting that if you had a 12 core, you might have a bit more read and copy performance because the 8 core, like IDA's core bottlenecked for the memory tests. Though I'm not sure how heavily, right? Because I don't actually have a 12 core to check. So anyway, let's restart. And I'm just going to show you all of the timings, and that's actually going to be it for the video. And I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the timings, so yeah. So I actually spent a lot of time dialing this stuff in because it turns out it really just, like, the secondaries, like, you can push them really low if you don't care about stability. But if you do care about stability, things go, well, they get very weird. So voltage-wise, we're at 1.47 volts, which does actually, like, the motherboard boosts that up to 1.5 volts. That's normal for this board. It just does that. And actually a lot of motherboards do that. Like, I think basically every single Gigabyte, well, like, there's more motherboards I have where you get a little bit of voltage boost like that, where it's like a couple millivolts of extra voltage. And yeah, and I also have some motherboards that don't do it at all, but those I think are actually more of an exception than the are an exception to the boards that do boost voltage. So yeah, also it depends on where that voltage is being measured, so that's another thing. Anyway, so SoC I have at 1.1 volts, VDDG at 1050. If we look at my memory subtimings, we're looking at 16, 19, 8, 18, 36, 68. So TRC is a very hard limit for stability. I can't run, well, I have tried running less than that, but it's not significantly less than that because below 62 it straight up doesn't post. And I've just been I've been going insane trying to get this stuff stable. And I've tried to run much lower timings and it just doesn't like it. TWR, I had to go for 14 eventually. I wanted to run it originally at 10, but that I don't think that actually even posts. I should have really kept notes. 12, I kept getting errors. They weren't very frequent, but I was getting errors. And they were like, like after 50% of the memory had passed, I'd suddenly get a bunch of errors or something like that, or 20%. Like, it wasn't immediate. It took a very long time before I'd start seeing errors. So TWR at 14 cleaned that right up. TCWL 12. I tried to run TRRD SNL at 4.6. That would spit out errors usually around sort of 6% to 7%, and then just get worse over time. 8 works fine at 3733. I don't think I tried 7.7. I do believe I tried 6.6, and 6.6 also was just spewing it, like it would spit out errors eventually. TWTRS and L48, that's nice and stable. That's what just passed. 640 TRFC. I can't go below 600. 620 might be stable. I'm just happy I finally got a 300% stable pass with some manual timings. So that's kind of that. TRTP 9 doesn't post, and I think with gear down mode this might be rounded up to 12. So I'm not sure, but I think 10 was also spitting out errors. So yeah, that's that. TFAW is at 16. So the funny thing about TFAW is actually sort of an extension timing to your TRRDs. So basically if your TRRD, so this is 4 active window, and RRD, I actually don't know the exact definition of it, but basically what you need to know is if your RRD, like if you do RRD times 4 for either S or L, that actually gives you the time period, the number of clock cycles for 4 activates to happen in a row. And TFAW can actually extend that. So if I have TFAW set to 16, but my TRRD is 8 and my TRRD-L is also 8, then I'll actually have a 4 active window of it'll take 32 clock cycles to do 4 activates. So there's no, like, I could push this all the way down to 12 and it wouldn't actually change stability, but it also wouldn't change any performance, right? That's the thing. If I increased it past 32, like at 32, it would have the same performance. From 32 down to 16, same performance. Down to 12, still the same performance. I can push it as low as it goes, won't change the performance or stability, because we are limited by the TRRD. The TFAW timing basically is like after the TRRDs have finished, after 4 of them have finished, it'll add extra clock cycles to the end of that. But since, like the TFAW is shorter than the TRRDs, it doesn't actually do anything right now. So I have it set to 16 because you actually can't set the TRRD S or L below 4 anyway. So that's kind of that, like, right? And I could bump it up to 32. It really wouldn't make a difference. It's just like, it's set that low because I'm lazy, and that's kind of that. So I set that to 16, and if I can bump down, like if I was able to work down TRD S and L all the way to 4.4, then that would have actually given me a nice little performance advantage, but as it is, I can't, so we'll just leave it at 16, just leave it at 8 and 16, and it's fine. TRDWR, 10. It defaults to 12, but I think 10 is actually more stable. So yeah, that one's kind of interesting. Then RRDSCL 4. I tried 3. I did try 3. I don't think it was stable, or it didn't even post. One of the two. Same for TWRWRSCL. TCKE of 1. Proc ODT of 36.9 ohms. So apparently you need to run this really low. Command rate 1T, gear down mode enabled. I like my lazy, like it's a nice, easy, lazy stability booster. So that's why I like to have that enabled. If you disable it, you're going to have, potentially takes even more work to get the memory stable again. CAD bus drive strength, we're actually looking at 24 on everything. So I did try 20 for CLK and 20 for command drive strength, but for me that didn't work. Your mileage may vary for you. There might also be like if you try to push different timings, you might need different CAD bus drive strengths resistances as well, and all of the data bus configuration settings I've just left on auto, which these are termination, nominal termination, write termination, park termination. So yeah, all of those are just auto. They seem to work fine. So that's my settings. It's not, it's not as fast as I necessarily want it to be, but it's not terrible, right? I mean, we're still getting, 67.8 around 68 nanoseconds of latency, 54 gigs of copy, 53 gigs of read or write or whatever it was. I think it was read. Yeah, write is the one that's bottlenecked, so it's kind of that. Also, I do actually have the Precision Boost Overdrive enabled right now, so that was running with PBO enabled. And I do have the SoC Uncore OC mode. I have that enabled, so the SoC doesn't go into power savings, which just I consider that a stability booster, so that's why that's turned on. I did not disable the, if we go, where was it? DRAM controller. I didn't disable that. That's still on auto. Probably worth disabling, but whatever. At this point, you know, it passed, so I'm happy with that. So yeah, that's the actual memory settings that I ended up at. I'm not sure that these are necessary. Like, I don't know. Maybe you can do better. Maybe you can do worse, right? But this is like I'm honestly happy with these because I don't really see. I don't think there's a ton of room for improvement, right? Like, you wouldn't touch these anyway. This isn't relevant. This is already as low as it goes. I tried messing with some of the other like tertiary timings, and all that ever resulted in is no post. So not gonna touch those because they seem to be perfectly happy where they're at. And you know, TRFC, like, it just doesn't go any lower. I did mess around with like lower TRP. I think I had it all the way down to like 7. I had it at 17 or even 16, but I don't remember seeing a performance advantage. I mean, we can quickly test that, can't we? We can just set it to like 16 right now, which might not even post, but let's see. And like that, this video became not short. Okay, so it did post. I mean, just for comparison, I guess I could whack in a bunch of like really aggressive timings and see, you know, that I know for a fact aren't going to be stable, but like just whack in a bunch of really aggressive timings, see what that spits out in terms of performance. And if the performance difference really isn't that big, then we can come to the conclusion that I did a good job with my timings, didn't I? That's why it's good to know what the like unstable limit is, because if you know the unstable limit, then when you get your stable limit, you don't feel so bad about it not being that impressive, because it's just like, well, if the unstable limit was terrible anyway, then who cares? Let's see the latency. Okay, so that actually did knock off a little bit. Oh wait, no, the frequency's way up. So it's a first run. So let's rerun that. Because that was 0.4 nanoseconds. That is very much margin of error, right? Or actually more like 0.2, because we got 2 runs last time. One was 68, one was 67.8, and 67.7 now, eh? So evidently, not much of a difference. Let's see read, which I think was around 53.1 gigs. And we're still getting around 53 gigs. Who could have expected that, right? Now we just need around 54 gigs of copy and I'll be happy. Yeah, around 54 gigs. How very unsurprising. I kind of want to keep going. No, I think we'll just end up at the same performance levels that I ended up at in the previous video. Also, it's worth noting that that weird voltage bug I had in the first video with this motherboard and this memory configuration, I've not experienced that since then. Like, I've not run into this booting up at 1.2 volts since shooting that video. And I'm really annoyed about that, because it's like, now it just seems like pointing the camera at the motherboard is what caused that, which is stupid. Like, I mean, I've had things like that happen in the past where it's just like a thing that worked until I pointed a camera at it. But it's just like, you know, that's just not fair. That's not scientific, and very unsatisfying when it's like, oh yeah, by pointing the camera away from the motherboard starts behaving again. Right? Like, that's absolutely, like, no, that's the worst kind of malfunction. Anyway, let's go to 64, 12, because I don't think it actually works below 64 anyway. We can actually drop this all the way down to like 28. Not that it leads to any performance difference. I actually messed around with TRAS where I went to 28. I also went to like 58, and I checked the performance. I don't believe it had any impact whatsoever. So Yeah, this timing is... I'm actually pretty sure TRC takes priority over TRP and TRAS because, as far as I know, TRC is supposed to be equal to TRP and TRAS, and I think if your TRC is like way, way high, like if you add up TRP and TRAS, that should be equal to TRC. And I think if your TRC is way higher, what ends up happening is it just like there's no performance advantage from having a low TRAS or TRP. I guess it's kind of like the TFall situation where if your TFall is way lower than your TRD SNL, then it's just like, well, it doesn't do anything anymore. Try 4.4, 620. I literally can't go below 600 anyway, so that's the limit. I think this can run 8. And we shall go for it. Shall we? Yeah, because I don't think there's really... Oh, wait, we can also try 3.3. And if this doesn't post, then I'll call it a day for the video, right? I kind of regret punching in that 8 for the TWRRD, is it? I can't remember which order they're in. Yeah, it doesn't post. Oh, wait, no, I'm just not used to watching the full post code. No, I think it legitimately isn't posting now. Yeah, it's stuck on like... Yeah, it's just rolling postcodes. So that doesn't even work. See? So I was pretty much at the limit. Like, the biggest drop there was the TFAW and the TRAS. And as I said, the TRAS really doesn't make much of a difference. I guess the SCLs were also a pretty major drop. Oh, wait. I think it's going to tell us that the BIOS cleared. Oh, no, it's not going to tell us that because it boot looped again. Yeah, no, it just keeps boot looping. So yeah, that is it for the video. So while the timings were there, I you know, that's kind of what to expect from revision E. Also the performance, that's also what you can kind of expect as well, right? Around 67 to 68 nanoseconds. Oh, I think the motherboard finally wiped itself. Yeah, that's exactly what I expected. So let's load. I think it was the PBO profile. That was like the right... Oh, no. This is... Yeah, see, this is one of the looser profiles I tried. So I think this is like the last profile before... Yeah, this is the last one before I got it working. Yeah. So, and then it was just like 8. And then, of course, TWR at 14. But, I mean, let's just try drop these to 3, right? To 16. Not to 6. No. 28. 64. Somebody's going to be like, Build Zoid, this video is getting longer by the second. Why, how very observant of you. You're evidently new to the channel. Okay, let's try 4.6, because I'm just going to be a bit more gentle on it. So let's try this. I really expect it to crash. Well, no, not to crash, but like this isn't stable. I know that for almost a fact, but please post. Because this is really close to what I tried to run earlier, and I know, like, well, that didn't pass, which is why that didn't end up being in the profile. Man, I don't think it can even get into Windows right now. Yeah, it boot looped. Oh yeah, it is really unstable. So, I'm just going to clear the CMOS and wrap up the video, because this ain't going anywhere. All right, need to turn on the motherboard. Yeah, so that's Rev E for you. Really doesn't do tight. but the performance really isn't that bad. Like, you know, it could be worse. And the thing is, it's so damn cheap. Though, admittedly, these days you can also get like Hynix CJR for like similar prices, and I don't know how CJR times, but if at this frequency range, it can do let's say 100 ticks lower TRFC. That would actually be a pretty significant advantage, or 200 ticks less TRFC. Like that would be a big deal. Like that would actually be a big deal. Which would put it around the sort of 400 range, which is still like way off B-Die. B-Die can do like 300 TRFC, but yeah, if CJR can do like 400, 500 TRFC, that would actually be a good reason to go for CJR over Rev E. But really depends on what you find for what prices are available to you in terms of the kits, right? So yeah, those are the timings I actually like ended up with in terms of stability, and this is just too low there. So that's what I ended up with. And yeah, so that's it for the video. Thank you to Gigabyte for providing the motherboard. Thank you to the patrons of the channel for funding the CPU as well as all of the memory. And thanks to you for watching, liking, sharing, subscribing. Damn it, now I've screwed up my outro. That's all the things. Yeah, so, and if you have any, you know, comments, questions, suggestions, you can leave them down in the comment section below. And what else? Right, I have a Patreon where you can support me so that I can, you know, produce videos like this one right here. And then also I have a Teespring where you can pick up AHOC merch, which, you know, we've got stickers, we got posters, we got shirts, socks, hoodies, and yeah, you know, both Teespring and Patreon help immensely with running this channel. So if you check the links out to them down in the description below, that would be awesome. And yeah, that's it for the video. So thanks for watching, and goodbye.